There comes a time in your life when you must learn to withdraw your energy from everything that drains you and redirect it toward yourself. The world is loud, filled with opinions, comparisons, distractions, and expectations that try to pull you in every direction but your own. But when you finally understand that your growth, peace, and success don't depend on external noise, you begin to master one of the greatest arts of life, focusing on yourself and staying silent. You stop explaining your dreams to people who can't see your vision. You stop defending your choices to those who never walked your path. You stop seeking validation from those who are still trying to find their own worth. Instead, you work quietly, heal privately, and build patiently. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It's a sign of maturity, of discipline, of power under control. The ones who truly win in life are not the loudest. They're the most focused. They're the ones who wake up early, stay consistent, and keep showing up even when no one is watching. They are not driven by applause, but by purpose. You don't need to announce every step you take. The right people will notice when the results speak for themselves. The universe rewards those who know how to wait, how to trust, how to keep their energy sacred while the process unfolds. Everything you are meant for will find its way to you when you're aligned, not desperate, when you're consistent, not chaotic. The truth is, when you focus on yourself, you stop competing. You realize that life isn't about who moves faster, but about who moves with direction. Your silence becomes your strategy. Your growth becomes your statement. You stop chasing things and start attracting them. The more you protect your peace, the more you magnetize blessings. Because peace is powerful. It's where creativity lives, where clarity grows, where miracles begin. You come and hear divine guidance in a noisy mind. But when you turn inward, when you trust your timing and your preparation, doors open naturally. So stop trying to prove yourself to a world that's not even paying attention. You don't owe explanations for choosing peace over chaos. You don't have to shout your progress to be seen. Just keep becoming, keep evolving, keep watering your own garden, and watch how effortlessly things start to bloom around you. The right people, the right opportunities, the right moments, they will all find you when you're ready. Focus on yourself, stay silent, and let your growth make the noise. Silence is often misunderstood as passivity, but in reality, it's one of the strongest positions a person can hold. When you learn to stay silent, you give yourself space to see things clearly, to process emotions, and to act with intention rather than impulse. Silence gives you control, not over others, but over yourself. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the one who listens, observes, and moves wisely stands out. Silence doesn't mean you don't have anything to say. It means you've learned that not everything deserves a response. It's about conserving your energy for what truly matters instead of wasting it on unnecessary arguments or validation from people who don't understand your path. When you remain calm and quiet, you can hear your own intuition more clearly. You notice things others miss. You start to understand people's motives, the patterns of life, and your own inner voice that guides you toward peace. Silence becomes your strength because it helps you respond with wisdom instead of reaction. It shields you from chaos, protects your mind from negativity, and keeps you grounded even when everything around you feels uncertain. Power is not in proving yourself. It's in being so centered that you no longer feel the need to. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and visionaries all understood the value of silence. They knew that by holding back words, they could observe the world, learn deeply, and act with precision. When you stay silent, you are not giving up control. You are taking it back. You are no longer letting emotions, ego, or noise dictate your actions. You become unshakable because you understand that not everything requires your attention and not every situation needs your reaction. In the quiet, growth begins. You start to realize that silence is a form of confidence. It shows that you trust your path enough not to broadcast every step. You trust the process, your preparation, and your timing. You start moving differently, thinking deeply, and living intentionally. While others rush to speak, you wait, observe, and act when the time is right. That's real power. Calm, patient, and unstoppable. The world may overlook silent people, but silence has always been where real strength is born. Focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When you learn to direct your energy inward, everything around you begins to shift. The world is filled with distractions, social media, opinions, competition, and endless noise that keeps you chasing everything except yourself. But when you decide to focus on your growth, your goals, and your inner peace, life begins to align in ways you never imagined. You stop being pulled in every direction and start walking with purpose. Focus isn't about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters. It's about understanding that your time and attention are sacred and not everything deserves access to them. When you focus, clarity follows. You begin to see what aligns with your purpose and what drains your spirit. You start choosing progress over pleasure, discipline over distraction, and consistency over chaos. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve your growth, you say yes to the life you're building. Focus helps you stay centered even when things get hard. It reminds you that small steps taken with intention will always lead to greater results than big leaps made without direction. The more you focus, the less noise affects you. You stop comparing your journey to others and start trusting your timing, your pace, and your process. Focus also builds confidence. When you see yourself showing up every day, even in silence, even when no one is watching, you start believing in your own power. You realize that your effort is never wasted. Every moment of dedication is shaping the life you desire. Energy flows where attention goes. And when your attention is on yourself, on improving, healing, and becoming, your entire reality begins to transform. You start attracting peace, success, and fulfillment, not because you're chasing them, but because your focus aligns you with them naturally. Life rewards too. Those who stay committed to their path. Focus is the discipline of saying, I will not be distracted by what doesn't belong to me. It's the strength to stay in your lane, build your foundation, and trust that what's meant for you will meet you along the way. When your mind is focused, your life becomes unstoppable because clarity and consistency always create momentum that nothing can break. Growth is not something that happens in the spotlight. It happens in the quiet corners of your life where no one is watching. Real transformation takes place in the unseen moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the times you choose discipline over comfort and self-control over impulse. Private growth is powerful because it's pure. There's no need for validation, no audience to impress, no competition to win. It's just you versus who you used to be. When you decide to evolve in silence, you give yourself the freedom to make mistakes, to learn, to fall, and to rise again without the pressure of being perfect in front of others. The truth is, growth is messy. It's uncomfortable, uncertain, and sometimes painful. That's why it's best done in private. When you're alone with your thoughts, you can confront the parts of yourself that need healing. You can face your fears, your insecurities, and your weaknesses without judgment. You begin to understand that growth isn't about showing others how strong you are. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs to prove it. In silence, you build resilience, you learn patience, you discover who you truly are when no one is there to applaud or criticize. Working on yourself privately also protects your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your progress. When you expose your dreams too early, you invite opinions that can plant doubt in your mind. But when you stay quiet and keep working, you allow your results to speak for you. The world doesn't need to see every step you take. They'll see the change when it's time. The seed doesn't announce its growth. It just breaks through the soil when it's ready. Your journey is the same. Private growth turns you into someone unshakable because you've built strength in silence. You've learned to depend on your effort instead of applause, on your progress instead of approval. The version of you that emerges from private work is wiser, calmer, and more confident. You stop explaining your transformation because your energy speaks louder than words. That's the beauty of silent growth. It molds you in the dark so you can shine naturally in the light without ever needing to say a word. There is a natural flow to life that reveals itself when you stop chasing and start trusting. What's meant for you will always find its way, but it can only reach you when you're still enough to receive it. Many people spend their lives forcing outcomes, trying to control timing, people, and circumstances, but all that striving often leads to frustration and exhaustion. When you focus on yourself instead, you create space for alignment. You begin to realize that not everything needs to be rushed, not every opportunity needs to be grabbed, and not every door is meant to open right away. The things that belong to you will never pass you by. They're simply waiting for you to be ready. When you learn to trust the process, life unfolds differently. You stop worrying about when something will happen and start preparing for when it does. That shift from impatience to faith changes everything. Instead of begging life for blessings, you start becoming the person who can handle them. You grow in character, wisdom, and emotional strength. You start realizing that divine timing is never late. It's just waiting for your maturity to match your desire. Sometimes delays are not rejections. They're redirections leading you to something better. Focusing on yourself also raises your energy to the level of what you're asking for. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you heal, improve, and align your actions with your intentions, life responds in kind. The relationships, opportunities, and experiences that once felt out of reach begin to flow toward you effortlessly because you become a magnet for them. The more you let go of desperation and trust the rhythm of your own journey, the more you begin to see that everything truly does come to you naturally. You start noticing signs, synchronicities, and divine connections showing up at the perfect moment, not because you forced them, but because you were ready for them. That's the quiet miracle of focusing inward. You realize that your only job is to keep growing, keep preparing, and keep believing. Everything else will align in its own time. What's truly meant for you doesn't require you to chase. It asks you to become. And when you finally do, it arrives without effort, just as it was always meant to. When you choose to stay silent, focus on yourself, grow in private, and trust that what's meant for you will come, you step into a level of power that few ever reach. You stop living for attention and start living with intention. You stop chasing outcomes and start aligning with purpose. Every moment of discipline, every quiet choice to keep working, every time you hold your peace instead of reacting, all of it is shaping you into the person capable of receiving everything you've prayed for. Life doesn't reward noise. It rewards consistency. It rewards faith. It rewards those who dare to build in silence while the world is distracted by noise. So stop explaining, stop forcing, stop rushing, turn inward, protect your peace, nurture your vision, and trust your timing. Keep your head down and your spirit high. Let your growth speak for you, because when you focus on yourself and stay silent, you align with a power that moves mountains without making a sound. The world won't see you coming, but when your moment arrives, they won't be able to ignore you. Your silence will have built a life that speaks louder than words ever could.